coming up tonight on the news at 6. Helena Public Schools recently sent 2 surveys to parents about possible phasing options. Tonight, we have the results. Plus,
it's just been wonderful to be able to do this and for us to have kids in the building.
Despite being closed since the middle of March, one nonprofit has found a way to stay busy helping others.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
Good evening. Welcome to the News at 6. I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us. Well, new numbers show a majority of Helena Public Schools families want leaders to consider bringing students back to fully in-person classes. But more district employees support staying in the current hybrid model. The school district released the results of 2 recent surveys on possible phasing options. 58% of parents and other family members want to consider phasing up to have all students on campus at the same time. Now, 52% of school staff said they want to continue the current phase for now. Now, right now, students are in in-person classes 2 days a week and online classes the other 3 days. Most families and employees agreed the hybrid model has been appropriate for the local health conditions so far, but more parents felt it does not meet their children's academic or social needs. District leaders say the school board is likely to discuss possible phasing decisions at their meeting next week. And today, Governor Greg Gianforte announced Montana will be able to redirect thousands of unused COVID-19 vaccines in the coming weeks. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian explains where they came from and how they will be used.
Governor Greg Gianforte says CVS and Walgreens were originally allocated about 19,500 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine that they won't need in the state's long-term care facilities. On Tuesday, he announced the state had reached an agreement with the pharmacies and the federal government to reallocate those doses.
Every dose Montana receives is critical, which is why I promised you in my first week in office that we wouldn't let vaccines sit on the shelves. Today, we're following through on that promise.
Leaders say these vaccines will be used as first and second doses for almost 10,000 people. All of the redirected doses are of the Pfizer vaccine, which requires ultra-cold storage. The state plans to send them to hospitals around Montana. They'll work with local partners to set up community vaccination clinics. General Matt Quinn, who leads Gianforte's COVID task force, says the vaccines could start arriving by the end of this week.
We would look for those clinics to happen sometime during that following next week, if not early into the week after. So we should get these shots in arms as quickly as we can.
Gianforte is still not satisfied with the overall vaccine allocation they're receiving from the federal government. He says they expect a small increase next week, but he still believes Montana isn't receiving an equitable share compared to other states. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Gianforte said about half of residents and staff in long-term care facilities have gotten the vaccine, and this change leaves enough for all of those people to get it. Now taking a look at Montana's COVID-19 situation, active cases of COVID-19 in the state continue to hold steady. As of today, there are about 3,400 active cases. Active hospitalizations rose to 116. Deaths in the state continue to rise. 17 more deaths have been reported since last night, which brings the statewide death total to 1,261. Now, 12 of the 15 new deaths reported in Cascade County today are from routine case reconciliation between local and state authorities. All right, now it's time for First Weather with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz. And Curtis, did you say earlier that Groundhog Day is your favorite holiday?
Yeah, it should be holiday for meteorologists and rodents out there. But hey, did you see the groundhog saw his shadow, Punxsutawney Phil? So
Ritz already told us that.
Yeah, Ritz the Wonder Pup told us that yesterday. You could go check that out on KTVH.com and yesterday's weather-wise. But how about today? Even though the groundhog saw its shadow, and we all know that there's a lot of validity to that, we've got record high temperatures in parts of the state. Glasgow hit 60. New record high. Havre hit 64 degrees, not a record there, but changes are afoot. We've got some rain and snow moving through, and look at this, little winter weather advisory northeast Montana, winter weather advisory down the Continental Divide into southwest Montana. This does, according to the National Weather Service, include the Helena Valley. So maybe a little snow coming through tonight into tomorrow morning. Appetizers up. This is just the appetizer. The main dish of significant cold and significant snow. Still a few days away, but maybe that groundhog and that puppy were right. More on the full forecast coming up.
All right, thanks for that, Curtis. The Montana Senate has endorsed a bill expanding the right to carry guns in the state. Senators took an initial vote 30-20 in favor of House Bill 102, which would allow people to carry concealed firearms without a permit in most places and with a permit in state and local government buildings. The bill also limits how college campuses can regulate guns. Now, last week, the bill was reassigned to the Senate Judiciary Committee, which amended it. The changes include allowing colleges to limit guns at some sports and entertainment events and letting people concealed carry without a permit in bars and restaurants.
If you have people that are from out of state, they might not feel comfortable if somebody walks in with a pistol strapped on, but under Montana law, that's the way that it is now. So to me, it seems like it's a very common sense change to allow those people to cover it up, to conceal it, put a shirt or a coat over it.
HB 102 will now go through a final vote in the Senate. And now, because the bill was amended in the Senate, the House will have to vote on whether to accept those changes. And Montana hunting outfitters turned out in force at the Capitol today in favor of a bill that reserves a set number of non-resident hunting licenses for their clients. Senate Bill 143, as written, would set aside 60% of the non-resident big game hunting licenses for outfitter clients. The bill's sponsor, Senator Jason Ellsworth of Hamilton, said he wants to amend the bill so the percentage of set-aside licenses would equal the number used by outfitter clients right now. Outfitters from across the state said they need the certainty of being able to have licenses for their clients, rather than having them depend on getting a tag in a lottery. Ellsworth said the bill also will generate an additional $2.5 million a year to be used to create more access for all hunters. Now, opponents said the bill overturns a 2010 voter initiative that did away with the outfitter license set aside. They said the bill unfairly favors outfitted hunters and will make it harder for non-residents who do not hire outfitters to get licenses. The Senate Fish and Game Committee did not take immediate action on the bill. Small businesses have had to adjust a lot to keep afloat during the pandemic. But what changes have to be made if you rely on craft fairs and other large gatherings to sell food? MTN's Andy Curtis has the sweet details on how one business is adapting.
Kind of a combination of trial and error and then online resources.
Dan Norris is pretty good at figuring things out. That's true when it came to his home-based chocolate company, Bear Base Camp, and now steering that business through the pandemic.
It's just a matter of, how much dedication and effort and expense do you want to pour into it to get going? And, fortunately, I wasn't shy for that.
Operating part-time out of his Helena area home, Dan hit the usual snags at the start of the pandemic that businesses across the country saw, like cleaning supply shortages. That is not so much of an issue now, but a problem still remains.
The biggest hurdle is just trying to figure out, how to substitute the face-to-face interactions because, those in-person events, you can give people free samples and, it's a lot easier to sell a food product when somebody can actually, physically try it and be right there to ask you questions about how you're making it and so forth.
Now, because of the type of license that Dan has, he depends on in-person events like craft shows. But much like when he was learning how to make chocolate, Dan is now learning from both trial and error and online resources to keep his business moving forward.
So what I did is I shifted to an online order model, and so people can look at my website, see the products that I have, request something via email, and then I can just set up a time with them to drop it off at their house, and I can either take pay online or in person, whatever works for them. So that's been enough to at least keep me sustainable over the last year.
Hopefully that will change for the better as we move forward. But if not, Bear Base Camp will adjust. Reporting in Helena, Andy Curtis, MTN News.
To hear more from Andy's interview with Dan, check out this story in the Rebound section of our website, ktvh.com. And still ahead on the news at 6, exploration works might be close to the public right now, but still ahead, we will tell you how they've put their building and time to use helping others.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the news at 6. Thanks for spending some time with us this evening. Exploration Works has been closed to the public since March 16th due to the pandemic, but they have not been empty. MTN's John Riley has the story.
For the past few months, Exploration Works has been providing childcare on virtual school days for St. Peter's Health staff. The program focuses on assisting with homework with one-on-one help, while also providing games and crafts for the kids to participate in. Museum staff say they're proud to be able to help take some of the stress off frontline healthcare workers.
This whole school year started is kind of like, what do we do? And we've provided an outlet for them to know their kids are safe, they're having fun, they are learning, they're getting their homework done. And it's just an environment where they've been able to make friends, have fun.
The program was made possible thanks to a childcare grant from the state. Executive Director Kelly Pozowitz says supporting hospital staff was a great use of their educators and building, while the museum is closed to the public.
It's just been wonderful to be able to do this and for us to have kids in the building. There's nothing worse when this building is quiet and there's no noise. It breaks my heart. So to hear the laughter and have kids in the building just makes us all feel like we're making a difference and continuing our mission.
Pozowitz says the program has been a big help in getting them to the other side of the pandemic, along with their after-school classes and summer camps, which just opened for registration this week. Exploration Works has also been working with Lewis and Clark Public Health on a reopening plan, beginning with weekend hours. When they're able to reopen is very dependent on positive case numbers in the county, but staff are already hard at work with new exhibits that are COVID-friendly. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
All right, now with another look at the weather, here's Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grebenitz.
Quite an unusual day out there today because of the warmth. Helena 58, Great Falls 59, 64 degrees in Havre, new record high in Glasgow at 60. But here's some much colder air just off towards the north. More on the full forecast coming up next.
Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grebenitz.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Here's a live look at the clouds increasing. This view from Geyser looking at the high woods. In Great Falls, though, right now, 49 degrees. So temperatures have dropped 10 from the high, and our wind beginning to ease up a little bit as a weak cold front is beginning to move through northern Montana. 52 still in Helena with some rain showers off towards the west. There's Cut Bank at 34. Havre, even after a high of 64, we're down to 42 degrees right now. So some cooler air is coming in from the north and the west, and the wind, it was a little breezy out there today, but the wind's not that bad here over the next few days. There you can see some of the precipitation and a couple of rain showers trying to push out across the north central part of the state, but really up into the mountains on the Rocky Mountain front. We've got some snow. It looks like in between Cut Bank over through about Browning and East Glacier, some snow there as well. Teton Pass already a couple inches of new snow, and some of that beginning to try to work its way down off of the Rocky Mountain front. Perhaps a few sprinkles here up around Flesher Pass and Lincoln, now down to about 35 degrees, a little mix of rain and snow in the Lincoln area, the upper Blackfoot Valley. Missoula, some rain, but look at that precipitation, mainly snow, and it's this area of precipitation that will be coming through the state here as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning. Big East Coast snowstorm here, parts of New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania. As much as 3 feet of snow. Central Park about 18 inches. Boston, west of the city, about 18 inches of snow. That's a pretty big storm that still is dropping some snow. So for the rest of this evening, a couple of rain showers working through the north central part of the state around Great Falls, maybe up to about Havre here. And to note around Helena, a little mix of some rain and snow through the evening hours. But as we get into about midnight tonight, a little more snow, especially in the southern half of Lewis and Clark County, Powell County, Broadwater, Jefferson counties out there through Marr County, southern Cascade County. Great Falls is not in that winter weather advisory, but all the way through the night into tomorrow morning, really from about Helena points south and west. That's where we'll have some snow. A little mix of rain and snow moving through the eastern part of Montana. That's why we've got a winter weather advisory up there for far northeastern areas. And then heading through Wednesday afternoon, a few snow showers, likely having the sun poke through the clouds at times, but some scattered snow showers moving across the state through Wednesday afternoon and evening. Thursday, a little sun to start early, but quickly the next storm moves in as clouds increase through the afternoon, and by late in the evening, likely seeing some snow moving back into the state here. So a little more activity than we've seen here recently. For snowfall amounts by tomorrow afternoon, east of Glasgow, a little snow accumulation there, and then through the little belts, the big belts here, down through the Elkhorn, southwest of Helen, up on the Occidental Plateau, on the Continental Divide, getting some of that snow here, and a little additional snow through Wednesday afternoon, mainly into the higher terrain, and then more snow Thursday night into Friday. This it will be a active winter pattern here. Haven't said that very much so in the last few weeks. There you can see the temperatures tonight down into the teens. So have our 64 for the high, only 18 for the overnight low. Little mix of rain and snow after midnight, northeast Montana. Some snow around Lewistown and Stanford and Denton and Nyhart and Monarch and White Sulphur Springs here through the night into tomorrow morning, and also around the Helena area. There will be some mixed rain and snow this evening, going over to snow after midnight tonight, maybe in the hills around Helen about 1 to 3 inches of some snow. So a front goes through tonight, another colder front coming through tomorrow afternoon, north central Montana. It's more of a wintry day tomorrow. Thursday, likely seeing snow increasing across the state later in the day. Some snow Thursday night into Friday morning. Snow taking a little break in the middle of the day Friday, but then another surge of snow coming through late on Friday night into Saturday morning. That's what the state will look like on Saturday morning, and breaking up a bit by Saturday afternoon. Look at these highs. 0 in Glasgow, 3 in Havre and Great Falls, 4 in Lewistown. So we've got some colder air with some snow as well. Periods of snow, okay? A little bit tonight into tomorrow, then Thursday night into Friday, Friday night into Saturday, Sunday afternoon into Monday, and much colder air Monday and Tuesday of next week. And for Great Falls, it will be colder the farther north and east you go in the state, and by Friday night down below 0, single digits for highs Saturday, and we've got significant snow likely, probably about 6 to 12 inches total of new accumulation by the time we get into Monday morning.
All right, thanks, Curtis. Coming up, a Montana nonprofit just opened up applications for Montana artists. We have the details up next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the News at 6. The TinWorks Art 2021 grant application is now open for Montana artists. The Bozeman-based nonprofit is offering $10,000 grants for Montana artists or people with Montana tribal lineage over the age of 18. Now, artists must be working in the performance or visual arts field and not be a full-time student. The grants are meant to help artists overcome hurdles they experience while working in the state.
Really practical hurdles, things like childcare access, studio access, paying their rent, which can often be difficult for artists in Bozeman and in cities in Montana in general. And so the grants are really meant to help people commit themselves to art making in a way that might not otherwise be possible.
Grant applications are due February 15th, and applicants will be notified of the decision on March 15th. Grants will be awarded on April 15th. And we'll wrap things up here on the News at 6 when we come back.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
All right, well, if you watched the 6 o'clock news last night, which of course you did, you already know this because Ritz predicted it, but 6 more weeks of winter. That is the latest prediction from Puxatawny Phil. Phil and his inner circle delivered the 135th prediction virtually this year, so without the usual crowd at Gobbler's Knob in Pennsylvania. Now, organizers still made the annual celebration fun. They piped in traditional crowd noise and even had cardboard cutouts of fans. Now, in the end, Phil saw his shadow, which means 6 more weeks of winter. Now, that prediction might be gloomy for some people, but I don't know, here in Montana, I wouldn't mind some more snow. So I don't think it sounds all that bad. Well, that does it for the News at 6. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.